So much unfortunate news has come out about the upcoming Scream film that on Wednesday, I just decided to take a step back and wait until all of the information came out to make a big video. So now let's cover this whole situation in one big video here.
Gobble, gobble, mother.
Okay, so first of all, before we get into all of this is gonna be a really nasty video. But before we do that, my nephew Troy this Thanksgiving made me an awesome picture of Art the Clown that I absolutely love. It's going on the set. I just love this. Look at this. Look at how good he is at drawing. I love you, Troy. He also started a Ghostface for me too. He's gonna finish it soon. I got to see and hang out with my family yesterday and not think about any of this, and it was great. But let's get this shit show on the road. So this all starts with some things that Melissa Barrera posted on Instagram a little while ago. Earlier in the month, Melissa Barrera, who plays Sam Carpenter in the brand new Scream films, reshared a post accusing Israel of genocide and ethnic cleansing, as well as a passage from Jewish Currents magazine that accused the Israeli government of distorting the Holocaust to boost the Israeli arms industry. Speaking more about this, Melissa Barrera says, "I pray day and night for no more deaths, for no more violence, and for peaceful coexistence. I will continue to speak out for those that need it most and continue to advocate for peace and safety, for human rights and freedom. Silence is not an option for me." Spyglass Media Group decided to fire Melissa Barrera from Scream 7. After initially declining to comment on Barrera's termination, Spyglass later issued a statement to Variety. This reads, "Spyglass' stance is unequivocally clear. We have zero tolerance for anti-Semitism or the incitement of hate in any form, including false references to genocide, ethnic cleansing, Holocaust distortion, or anything that flagrantly crosses the line into hate speech." Shortly after her termination, Barrera responded Wednesday afternoon with, "First and foremost, I condemn anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. I condemn hate and prejudice of any kind against any group of people. As a Latina, a proud Mexicana, I feel the responsibility of having a platform that allows me the privilege of being heard, and therefore I have tried to use it to raise awareness about issues I care about, and to lend my voice to those in need. Every person on this earth, regardless of religion, race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, or socioeconomic status, deserves equal human rights, dignity, and of course, freedom. I believe a group of people are not their leadership, and that no governing body should be above criticism." There's only one thing I want to say in regards to Melissa Barrera's firing, and I simply want to pose a question. Why do you personally believe that Spyglass Media fired Melissa Barrera? I think that there are two reasons why Melissa Barrera would have been terminated after what she posted. The first reason could be that Spyglass Media Group is a bunch of humanitarians that really do care about the wellness of other people and the end of bigotry. Now, yeah, that absolutely might be the case as detailed in Spyglass's response, but I also want to remind everybody about a certain strike that went on this year, one that lasted 148 days from the writers, who all they wanted was residuals from the stuff that they made. You know, just to get paid for the things that they were making. Oh, and who can forget the other wonderful aspect of the strike, where studios were considering hiring AI, so not people, not creating more jobs for human beings out there, you know, something that doesn't really matter apparently. Let's have AI do these easy jobs that clearly anyone can do. These issues are comically evil. It sounds like something Dr. Evil would make up in Austin Powers 4. This might seem out of left field, but I also want to mention a very interesting interview with American actor and singer-songwriter Billy Porter. During the strike, Billy Porter talked a little bit about how he had to sell the house due to the ongoing strike, and he also referenced something interesting that Deadline reported on. Reported earlier on in the strike, Deadline quoted an anonymous studio executive who said studios won't return to the table with the Writers Guild until union members start losing their apartments and their houses. Porter's response to that Hollywood executive was, "To the person who said we're going to starve them out until they have to sell their apartments, you've already starved me out." So the real question here is it safer to assume that Hollywood studios make decisions based off of humanitarian ideals, or could it be to prop up their own image for monetary gain? Well, that's why it's a question. It's up to you to decide. More news came to follow as Jenna Ortega was also announced to no longer be a part of the Scream franchise. But not for the reason that you would think. According to Deadline, Jenna Ortega's exit has nothing to do with Melissa Barrera's firing and was actually discussed before the actors' strike. I'm really on the fence about how I feel about this. On one side of the coin, it's weird that this news just came out alongside that Melissa Barrera was fired, but I've also always felt from the beginning when Scream 7 was announced that they definitely were going for something different than what the previous previous two films ended up doing. Especially when Christopher Landon was announced to be the director of the film, I almost had this sense that we weren't going to see the core four in the film at all. Christopher Landon, who's a huge fan of that original Scream movie, I imagine would want to work with Neve Campbell, who I'm sure is like one of his favorite final girls ever. This is just me speculating, of course, but the way he talks about the Scream franchise, I imagine he wants to tell a Sidney Prescott story, which I'm totally fine with. I think the Scream franchise had a lot of options before this week, so honestly, Scream 7 could have gone down any path. Now they're pigeonholed really to one path, which we'll talk about later. Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera will not be returning for Scream 7, and it's unclear if the rest of the core four will make an appearance or not in the upcoming film either. There's no word on Mason Gooding or Jasmine Savoy Brown's contract as of yet. And then the last big announcement for Scream 7 is that Guy Busick and James Vanderbilt will be completely retooling the Scream 7 script from the ground up. Variety also reports that the studio is eyeing Neve Campbell and Patrick Dempsey to potentially star in the upcoming seventh Sevinquel? Is that a... That's not a word. That sounds gross. I also want to note that the way Variety words this is that the producers are reportedly keen to see her back in the role, you know, even after cheaping her out for Scream 6. That's really funny. No matter how you feel about Melissa Barrera or the new Scream films, this is such a bad situation. Now, I weirdly see a lot of people celebrating over this news because maybe they're just happy that Neve Campbell's back in the leading role. I respect the opinion, but I don't think Neve Campbell's coming back. That's not an official claim, by the way. That's just the studio saying they want her back. That doesn't mean shit. Neve Campbell is an incredibly classy woman who does not take shit. She ain't gonna come back for Scream 7 if Spyglass is doing it. That's not gonna happen. They might drive the money truck up to her goddamn house, but Neve Campbell's got integrity, and I respect that about her. The latest director in the Scream franchise, Christopher Landon, posted on X and then removed the tweet saying, "This is my statement, broken heart emoji, everything sucks, stop yelling, this was not my decision to make." This is a really bizarre statement from Christopher Landon, in my opinion. Why is he talking about this situation like he just broke up a fight between two toddlers? You guys need to stop yelling. Everything does suck, I know. This was not my decision to make, but you're in timeout now. Who even knows if we're getting the seventh film from Spyglass after all, after the incredibly negative response to this on social media? And once again, I want to make this so clear, you might totally agree with what Spyglass said and the decision that they made. I'm just saying that the majority response to this situation has been incredibly negative towards the studio. You can't go on any platform right now and not see the hashtag Justice for Melissa Barrera. For those of you who are celebrating and saying, yay, Sydney's back. Well, no, she's not, and the seventh film might not happen, so quit celebrating. I've said this many times before on this page, but I personally feel like the Scream franchise could go on forever. But if more shit like this happens, it simply won't. It's one of the most malleable horror franchises out there because I think it can do so much with so little. Most big slasher franchises don't really have anything to say. And while that is in no way a requirement for a slasher, it is one of the strongest things in Scream's corner that it has over a lot of the other franchises out there. Scream 1 is a commentary on slashers, 2 is a commentary on sequels and, well, just horror movies in general, 3 is all about trilogies and the dark side of Hollywood, 4 is about remakes, 5 is about requels, and 6 is just an overall commentary of the franchise itself. I really love that. I think it's a beautiful story that they've told over the past 6 movies, and now it seems like we may not get another chapter. Or we may get a Scream 7 that's completely a retooled version of a previous idea, which will not be good, I promise. I know what they're saying right now is that they're gonna completely redo a brand new script or whatever, but that's probably not going to be the case. I'm sure that many of the same ideas from Scream 7's original idea is going to flow into this new thing that is literally being written by the same guys. I personally really like the writing of James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick. I think it's good, but I just don't think this new script is going to be that. This whole situation makes me worried that where the past 6 Scream films all had something to say, the only point of Scream 7 will be to put butts in seats because of all of this negative press. A lot of people are currently calling to boycott Scream 7, so what is the studio gonna do in response to that? They're gonna start shaking in their boots. And here's the thing, they're not gonna be vocal about it, but what they are going to do is make a bunch of outlandish decisions to make Scream 7 a more likable product. Things like bringing back the character of Stu Macher. While I personally think it would destroy the franchise if they actually put that into a real Scream film, it would bring people to the theaters and it would make millions of dollars. I personally think it's a horrible idea. I think it'll kill the franchise for good. Nobody will take Scream seriously anymore at that point, but people would have to see Matthew Lillard in a Scream film. Of course they would. I would die to see that, even though I think it would completely destroy what's great about the Scream franchise by doing so. I'm so worried that something like that is going to happen. I don't know 100% if it's going to be Stu Macher's revealed as the killer, he's been alive this whole time. That might be it. But some kind of nostalgia baiting to get people to the theaters usually works and usually makes money. Does it result in good products? Almost never, but It makes a lot of money. I think the new Jurassic World movies are trash compared to the first 3, but they made a lot of fucking money, dude. I'm personally convinced that Jurassic World Dominion was written by AI after seeing it a few more times, but that movie made $1 billion. $1 billion for a dinosaur movie that's actually just about fucking locusts. Hollywood is such a frustrating and sad place. I want to go just cuddle up in bed and watch all 6 of the Scream movies again. I don't know, man. That's all I want to do now. But of course, because we're not closed-minded individuals here, what do you guys think about this whole situation? Thank you all so much for watching this brand new Scream 7 update. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror movie content in the future. Please consider supporting me on Patreon as well by clicking on the link in the description below. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.